Thanks, man. Well, howdy, gang. How many minutes ago did my flight touch down at SFO? It's not important. That doesn't matter. Maybe 22. We have a lot to get through today, so I am going to kick us right off. I want to say first that I am here on the main stage to scare the crap out of you. And then later at noon, I'll have some solutions. So if it seems like a dismal and apocalyptic presentation, be warned, that's intentional, and I apologize. So first off, I am a very passionate person about startups. I love early stage. I love scaling companies. I love companies that are small. I love small businesses, even ones that don't end up scaling. And I want to see more of them. And the big problem that we have right now in the startup world is that while it seems like a golden age, the past 15 years are actually some of the worst in the last 50 for number of people working at companies less than 5 years old, number of people working in small businesses or medium businesses. It's sort of a winner-take-all game. I don't personally like that. I don't think that's economically good or socially good, but it's the reality. And too many startups die because they can't find customers or can't find them affordably. That's something that I have been working to help people with for almost 20 years now. And so the bad news is that like these classic processes that a lot of us used to build companies over the last 10 years don't work the way they used to. Why? What happened? Four big things that I'm going to walk you through, and then at noon in the breakout, we'll talk about some of the solutions to these. So first off, social platforms. You probably know and recall that years ago, Facebook kind of Trojan horsed all of the businesses, startups included, around the world to use their platform to build their audiences, right? Go join us on Facebook. Go become a fan of our business. And then over time, whereas you could reach 30%, even 40% of your fans, right, your followers on Facebook through your business pages, that changed, right? They dropped that into the toilet. And then they killed most referral traffic. This is true even for verticals that are purpose-built to drive traffic from Facebook. The very sad layoffs at BuzzFeed, right, are a direct result of this, and Gannett and others. Slate did some excellent reporting on this that I've sourced here. Neiman Lab published this. Now, Facebook's not alone, right? Instagram has always made outlinking really hard, with the exception of the link in bio. I don't know. The click-through rates on that are pretty terrible. I'll show you in a sec. Right? Twitter and LinkedIn are also biasing their content, their algorithmic content and updates to show you content that keeps you on Twitter and LinkedIn, which makes sense for their business, right? If they want more active time on Twitter, then taking posts that have a URL in them and not pushing them to as many people is a reasonable way to do that. And you can see this, right? This is the rise of the phenomenon, especially on LinkedIn, of people going, oh, here's this post, and then the first comment has the link to the actual piece. Reddit has been working really hard the last 3 years to keep you on Reddit, right? They killed all their referral traffic off-site, well, a lot of it, and they've killed the Imgur and URL image hosting. YouTube does this thing that is just so, I don't know, it's insulting, right? So here's the trailer for the new Captain Marvel, which looks kind of amazing, I must say. So, and wherever you put your URL in your description, which, in Marvel's case, they've put it after only about 8 words there. But they put the URL, and so YouTube just cuts it off right above where the URL is, which is just, I don't know, it feels like just a dick move. Like, can't you? Well, do you have to do that? It doesn't matter where I put the URL, you're just going to cut off right before that. So I asked myself, like, who is still sending web traffic? Who out there does it? And we can get some of this data from JumpShot, which is a clickstream data provider based here in the Bay Area. And, well, there you go. Google. Basically, Google. The funny part is, right, remember when people were talking about how, oh, Facebook has overtaken Google in terms of traffic sending out? That was never true. For some clickbait-focused social publishers, Facebook was a bigger traffic driver. But World Wide Web, we're talking, it never got even to 15% of what Google sends, right? So Google is the biggest one, which leads us to problem number 2. Google is sending less traffic out than ever before. That's because they're solving more queries without any clicks, like this one. I don't have to go and click anything. Google's scraped all the data from the websites we've built, and then put it into their own little system here. I'm not totally sure that I agree that Moonrise Kingdom is an action movie, but that's okay. So here's again from jump shot data, tens of millions of devices in the US. Paid gets about 5.6% on average, organic 65%. This is on desktop, which is a little less than half of all searches now. No-click searches, 34%. Mobile, mobile, good luck finding an organic result. Here's the pay, where's the pay? No. Oh, an organic result, my God. It's like spotting a leopard in the wild. Paid 8.7%. No-click searches on mobile, 61%. Google is solving way more than half the queries we make on these devices without ever doing a click. And this trend does not look good. Zero-click searches are up 30% in 2 years, which makes sense. If you are at Google, you want to solve more queries this way. This makes people more addicted to using Google, and this makes sure that you get more of the revenue from all the searchers, as opposed to someone else benefiting. And if you're Google and there's not a lot of growth in terms of number of searchers, this is where you have to get growth from. Google Maps and Local does this by making the local results go to Maps. Job aggregation does this by making Google Jobs the center, film and TV, sports, hotels, flights. Every time I bring this up, someone says this. And I agree, it does solve for the user. But if you are a creator, if you are a marketer, if you are a startup, if you're trying to do anything to get traffic from Google, this sucks. This is hard. Number 3, I think a lot of marketers worldwide, especially in CPG, right, consumer product goods, and a lot of travel and those sorts of fields, have been looking at influencer marketing as the saving grace. You can see this in Google Trends, right? Influencer marketing growing vastly more quickly than other marketing practices in terms of interest and demand. The dollar data out there suggests that there's going to be a tremendous amount of spend on this. And I am skeptical. I am skeptical. What I've seen so far is that a lot of the influencers themselves are saying things like what this sartorial guy is saying. Essentially, the marketers that they are working with do not ask for metrics. They don't ask for ROI. They make these buys the same way that we made unsophisticated media buys 30, 40 years ago. And very frankly, I think this is due for a reckoning. I'm also weirded out that in 2012, if we said influencer marketing, right, 7 years ago, it meant this. Discover all the sources that influence your audience, do marketing of all kinds in those places. But in 2018, it's pay half-naked people on Instagram to take pictures with your product. What? What happened? Usually we get smarter about this stuff. This drives me bananas. There's all these potential sources of influence, and yet all the influencer marketing is done just here. YouTube and Instagram, that's really weird. It's like spending all your marketing dollars on Bing. Like, maybe some should go to Bing, but probably a lot should go to other search engines too. And there is a backlash. There is a backlash that has been talked about and is coming, and I think a lot of brands and marketers and buyers are worried about this. I also think influencer marketing in some ways is underinvested. I'll talk more about that at noon. Number 4. This one's, I want to say our fault, but sort of it's more the fault of late stage capitalism and the search for growth dollars, which is basically that a lot of these ad platforms, this includes Facebook and Google, but extends to every ad platform, are being flooded by venture dollars and private equity dollars that are seeking growth, not profitability. So they are happy to lose money to acquire customers, right? Which is a model of funded startups, right? I worked at Moz. We raised, what did I raise? $29 million, I think, and spent most of it poorly. Don't get me wrong, Moz is doing well, right? It's a $50 million a year company that's growing nicely, but it's not, a lot of the venture dollars were not spent wisely. And they flood ad markets seeking growth. And what that means is that the bids in many sectors go above what's profitable. So when we look at ROI, we're like, gosh, I cannot afford to spend this amount of money to acquire these customers. It's especially hard because there are marketers out there, there are brands that are not accountable to metrics, just like in the influencer field. I think this is fewer and farther between in paid marketing, but I have seen it myself where the numbers say grow to this many users or customers rather than get profitable or have an ROI of X. Display, search, social, all of them work this way, right? And so this means that the ad costs are going up while the ROI trends down. So what do we do? What do we do as marketers? I think we need to be creative. We need to use the advantages that we have, which is our size, our small size, our nimbleness, our ability to innovate faster, our ability to do things that other larger companies are not willing or not able to do. And I'm going to talk about some of that at noon. Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it. Cheers.